If you've got some of the symptoms I'm about to describe, don't brush them off. It could mean something more serious than you think. UC doesn't just affect your gut, it can turn your whole world upside down in some ways that you never expect. Today, we're talking symptoms of UC. Hi, I'm Elliston. Welcome to Pouch Heals. So if you're somebody that's always running to the toilet, listen to this list of symptoms and see if it sounds familiar to you. UC is an inflammatory bowel disease and the symptoms can look slightly different for each of us, but I'll start with the most common ones. Frequent diarrhoea, often with blood and mucus, is one of the earliest and most obvious signs of UC. High frequency can see you going to the toilet 10, 15, maybe as many as 20 times a day. That bloody diarrhoea is often accompanied with a real sense of urgency. That means when you need to go to the toilet, you need to go to the toilet. Tummy pain and cramping. Some people have fairly mild cramping, others can find it quite debilitating. Tiredness and fatigue. Someone with active UC has a lot of inflammation in their system, and this can be exhausting. Doing a normal daily routine can just wipe you out by the end of the day. Weight loss and poor appetite. When my daughter was ill, she knew that whatever she ate, she would have to process and digest, and that really put her off eating, and as a result, she lost a lot of weight. Fever and joint pain. UC doesn't just affect the gut, it can affect other areas of your body. And for children and young people, it can impact their development and growth. I'm just going to stop the list there. If you're finding this video useful, please consider hitting like and subscribe. I'll be releasing more videos on similar topics very soon. Back to the list. So as I said, UC doesn't just affect the gut, it can show up in other areas of the body. You may notice sores, red patches on your legs, typically around your shins. You can also experience ulcers in your mouth. I actually experienced ulcers in my nose. Lucky me, right? My doctor said it's because it's where soft tissue is, and UC likes to affect the areas of soft tissue in your body. Not everyone with UC will get these, but if you are experiencing them, it's worth mentioning to your doctor. It can get in your head too. The constant stress of worrying where the nearest toilets are. You might find that you start to withdraw from normal daily activity and start to feel really tied to the bathroom. It's one of those invisible symptoms that's really not that easy to understand unless you're the one going through it. Okay, serious voice. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, please go to a doctor or a healthcare professional and get yourself checked. You may need a referral to a hospital to see a specialist doctor. Here in the UK, that can take time, especially with the NHS waiting lists. So the sooner you get to see a doctor, the sooner you'll get your referral. That means you get confirmed, you get diagnosed, and then you can start treatment. One thing that really helped us when we were dealing with our daughter's sickness was to make a note before we went in to see the doctor of all of the things that we wanted to discuss. We didn't want to be in the doctor's surgery and then walk out and think 10 minutes later, oh, we should have mentioned XYZ to him. We went in with a pre-written list. It documented all of the symptoms she was experiencing, the kind of activity that she used to do and had now stopped doing, the kind of diet she was on, and the frequency and the number of times she was going. That meant we could just go into the doctor's surgery, read the list to him, and he had a complete picture of what was going on. Sometimes when you go to the doctor, it can feel like you're having a job interview and the spotlight's on you and you need to remember an awful lot. And when that happens, it's easy to forget. So being pre-prepared helps massively. It's also worth mentioning that Crohn's disease shares a lot of the same symptoms as UC. They're very similar diseases, and where UC only affects the large intestine, Crohn's can affect the entire digestive tract. That can be from the mouth all the way through. And that's why it's so important to get a proper diagnosis, so you get the right treatment for the condition that you've got. Recognizing the early signs of UC can make a huge difference. It gets you in front of a doctor sooner and get you on your treatment sooner. UC symptoms can be really overwhelming, but you don't have to go through it alone. That's why this channel's here. So a bit of context. I've had UC for about 13 years. I then lived with a stoma for a year, and I've had a J-pouch for about 15 years now. Unfortunately, a few months ago, my eldest daughter was also diagnosed with UC. I'd love it if we could support you on your journey. And if you'd like to, leave a comment below and share with us how you're doing, where you are on your journey, the challenges you're facing. I suspect someone has been in the same situation and can offer you support and guidance. I'll be releasing more videos very soon on similar topics. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it's been helpful. I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.